Last night, I watched the Dallas Cowboys lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady, who, for those of you who live under a rock, is pretty much the unanimous football GOAT. Tom boasts an incredible resume, but what may be even more shocking is the fact that he plays at the incredible level he does while being at the age of 45 years old. To put that in perspective, you all know Udonis Haslem, right? You know, the guy who's been taking the last roster spot in Miami for the last 1,000 years? Well, he's only 42 years old. All of this got me thinking about LeBron James and the recent news that just surfaced the other week regarding him wanting to play with his sons, not only Bronny, but also Bryce. And I can't help but ask, when should LeBron James retire? Now, the easy answer to this question would be whenever he can't play basketball at a high level. But of course, when you're the stature of player that LeBron is, there's many levels to this. LeBron is, in some people's eyes, a record and/or a championship away from catching Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time. Some people already have him as their GOAT. Because of this, there's a lot of things that LeBron has been doing recently that I'm not the biggest fan of. And honestly, one of the big things, it's pretty controversial, but it's playing in garbage time minutes. I know you're probably thinking, well, the Lakers had a rough season last year, and LeBron was trying to make a comeback for his team late in some of those games, but I don't think so. Some cases, yes, I do admire that LeBron is always trying to, be that leader and be that guy and always put on for his team. But in other cases, you can just very visually see that LeBron wants to catch Kareem badly. He is currently 1,325 points away from catching Kareem and becoming the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Normally, I would not have an issue with this. I'm all for shattering records and making history. But the thing is I fear the health issues that it will lead to with LeBron. At this state in his career, he should not be carrying this much of the offensive load. Pause. Especially not with guys like Russell Westbrook or Anthony Davis standing next to him. LeBron averaged 37.2 minutes last year. That's 1.5 minutes less than rookie 18-year-old LeBron. It doesn't take a rocket science to realize that this is not okay. Russell Westbrook only played 34 minutes a game last season, and he's known to have that relentless motor. Granted, some games I'm sure he got benched early, but we all know Russell could probably play 48 minutes a night with no issue with the state of his conditioning. Not to mention, when you tack on all the extra playoff series LeBron's been a part of, this guy has so many miles on his motor, and all he can think about is playing with his sons. Now, I will never knock a man for trying to compete another year, and especially a father who's trying to improve his family's legacy. I have nothing but respect for LeBron and the James family, but LeBron's health and play style cannot sustain another 3 or 4 years of the current play style he's doing. In LeBron's first 15 seasons before drastically switching his roles going to Los Angeles, he played an average of 76 games a season. In 4 seasons since becoming a part of the LA Lakers, he's averaged an injury-infested 55 games played per season, with a season high 67, and that was in the bubble season, so it was only 72 games. There's games I've seen this last season in LA where the Lakers will be getting blown out by over 20 points, and LeBron is still checked into the game, chucking up shots, trying to get his nightly 30 before he goes to the bench. And we saw this a lot when his points per game total dipped down to 29, and then he needed to slowly get it back up to 30. This is clearly him trying to chase the record, and you can't convince me otherwise. I hate to agree with Skip, but he points it out exactly right here. With 5 minutes left down, there's no superstar in the NBA that would even consider being checked into a regular season game like that. Coaches and players have learned from someone like Derrick Rose being in the game, going as hard as they were going when they shouldn't have, too late in a game, or when they were up by X or down by Y. If you guys have read Derrick Rose's book, he briefly mentions that it's not Coach Tibbs' fault, but it's the player's fault. You know, at the end of the day, every player has to take accountability for their own actions. And sometimes you just should have the awareness to say, hey, I should not be in this game right now. I understand that, you know, we're talking about legacy and greatness here, but it's not worth LeBron facing an injury. It's also worth mentioning someone like Dwight Howard, LeBron's former teammate, had this to say about LeBron when looking into stats. And while yes, I understand what Dwight is trying to say, there's just an equal amount of evidence on the other side of the argument that shows what he's saying is true only in some cases, but it's the same for what I'm saying as well. All of this being said, that doesn't mean LeBron isn't a good teammate or a ball hog by any means. I mean, with Anthony Davis being in and out of the lineup every night and Westbrook averaging 4 turnovers a game, who wouldn't want LeBron taking all the shots? This is where the question reintroduces itself. When should LeBron James retire? The answer in my eyes would be now, but he just re-signed a 2-year extension with the Lakers and is clearly looking to sign a new contract, probably a 1-year deal with whatever team both of his sons end up on, or maybe it'll just be one of them. It's not that I don't think LeBron is capable of playing basketball anymore at a high level. It's just that the situation he's gotten himself into in LA has purely outgrown him. And from the start, it wasn't like it was a perfect match. Let's jump back to 2019 when he originally signed his deal. LeBron knew exactly what he was getting into when he signed up to play on this Lakers team with a bunch of 19 to 22, 23-year-olds. You know, LeBron was going to have to be that guy for the Lakers if they wanted to succeed, and they didn't. LeBron went down with a groin injury, and then the Lakers missed the playoffs. I also think it's interesting to note that 3 years ago, LeBron was ready to reduce his minutes once he saw that the playoffs was becoming out of the picture. But now that he's close to catching Kareem, he's got such a different approach. Now we come back to the present. Unless Anthony Davis can play at that MVP level that he's very capable of being when healthy, then LeBron, in my eyes, will just continue to suffer and face more injuries as the season goes on and he tries to be the Captain America for the Lakers. LeBron needs to be playing that David Robinson to Tim Duncan role where he's just obviously still great and he's still dominant, but he has to pass the torch to Anthony Davis. I don't think that LeBron should ever be playing that many minutes again. I don't want to see the last bit of LeBron's career get snipped short by injuries. So I hope that if he plans to play for 3 more years, that he continues to spend the millions of dollars that he does to take care of his body. I don't think he should ever be averaging over 32 minutes a game for the rest of his career, let alone 37. But that's all for today's video, guys. Let me know what you make of this question down below in the comments. I'm really curious because there's a lot of LeBron stans out there I know who think he could play till he's 45. And hey, I guess I don't disagree. It just depends on how many minutes a game he's playing. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like and subscribe if you're new. I appreciate all the love you guys been showing in the comments recently. Peace.